Hello everyone, and welcome to this video on the second part of naming ionic compounds. So today we're going to talk about how to name ionic compounds when they have multivalent metals or polyatomic ions included. So you are going to need for this lesson a piece of paper, a pen or a pencil, a periodic table, and also a polyatomic ion chart. These are on your class OneNote if you don't have a physical copy. They are also at the back of your workbook and textbook. So pause this video right now to get those things ready. Okay, welcome back. So there will be an assignment posted on Teams for you to do after this. And also listen to the password. You're going to enter it on the assignment so I can tell you listened to this video. Okay, so let's start with multivalent metals. Some metals can have more than one charge. These are called multivalent metals. So these are usually the transition metals. And here's an example. Chromium can be Cr3+ or Cr2+. So it can be a chromium 3 ion or a chromium 2 ion. And we need a way to tell which charge we're dealing with. So to distinguish between ions that may have different charges, we use a Roman numeral after the name of the metal. So for example, chromium 3+ is called chromium 3. The way you write it is chromium and then the Roman numeral for 3, which is III. And it's pronounced as chromium 3. Cr2+ would be chromium 2 and is pronounced chromium 2. So here's an example, chromium 2 oxide. Now instead of looking up the charge on the periodic table, we can actually tell the charge from its name. So chromium 2 is going to be chromium 2+. Remember, all metals are positive ions. And oxygen, we have to look at the periodic table and we see its ion charge is 2-. Okay, our charges are already balanced, which is great. So our formula is CrO. If we use copper 2 chloride, instead of looking up the charge on the periodic table, we get the charge of the species of copper from its name. So this is copper 2. So Cu2+. Chloride, I got to look at chlorine on the periodic table. There it is, it's -1. We need 2 chlorides to balance out the +2 charge of copper. So what's our formula going to be? It's going to be CuCl2. Okay, it's your turn. Pause the video and try to write the formula for these 4 compounds. Unpause the video when you're ready for the answers. Okay, how did you do? Let's look at the answers. Copper 1 chloride becomes CuCl. Nickel 3 oxide becomes Ni2O3. Cobalt 3 iodide becomes COI3. And titanium 4 selenide, this is a bit of a tricky one, becomes TiSe2. That's because selenide has a charge of 2+, so the titanium has, selenide is 2-, titanium is 4+, so we need 2 selenides to balance out the titanium. Here's another example, iron oxide. So now actually we're going to write the name from the formula. So here's oxygen. Oxygen has a charge of -2. Here's iron. Iron could have a charge of +3 or +2. How do we know which iron ion is in FeO? We have to do a little bit of math, but don't worry. We know there's one oxygen with a -2 charge. There it is. We also know there's one iron, and we know it must have a +2 charge to balance out the -2 from the oxygen. So here's our mystery iron. But there's only one of them, so it must have a +2 charge. Ta-da! So we would write this as, oh, it doesn't have it, sorry. We would write this as iron brackets 1 oxide. What about for iron 2O3 or Fe2O3? Okay, there's our oxygen again. It has a charge of -2. There's our iron again. It could be +3 or +2. How do we know? Again, we're going to use math. So there's 3 oxygens with a -2 charge. There they are. And we know that 3 times -2 is -6. We also know there's 2 irons, and we know they must add up to a charge of +6 to balance out that oxygen. So there's our 2 mystery irons. Okay, so we know we have to have +6. What's +6 divided by 2 irons? It must equal +3, right? 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we used the iron 3 ion here. So that would be written as iron brackets 3 I oxide. I'm going to show you some more examples. But iron 2 oxide is actually rust. So if you leave metal out and it gets wet, a reaction happens between iron and oxygen and turns into these smelly red spots that you might see on metal that you've left outside. Okay, so I'm going to get you to try writing the names of the following compounds. So press pause and press play when you're done. All right, how did you do? Let's look. So this CuI is copper 1 iodide. This PbO2 is lead 4 oxide, IV is 4. AuCl3 is gold 3 chloride. And Mn3P4 is manganese 4 phosphide. Great work.